Hey loves, it's your girl Mariah Sincere, and I am back with another bomb live. For those of y'all who are new to my channel, I am a life coach who specializes in helping people to radically transform their lives, and I also do social and political commentary. If you are interested in any type of life coaching, go to my link in the description box, ThePassportSis.com. I got you. I've been through traumatic relationships, childhoods, dead end jobs, all of that, and I've been able to level up. So if you're ready to get with the winning team and you're ready to stop feeling sorry for yourself and be solution oriented about your life, visit my website. I'm also an American living in Medellin, Colombia, although I will be going to Mexico next month for the last 5 months of the year. So, if you are interested in a travel buddy, if you will be in Mexico during that time, or if you're planning for moving out of the country or a trip and you need a consultation on how to do an extended sabbatical out of the United States or even move out of the United States, and you're ready to make that leap like I did, hit me up at thepassportsis.com. Now, with that said, I'm not one of those Americans who hates my country. Okay. I did not leave the United States because I hated the United States. I left the United States because I could not afford the United States. Let me be very clear. I cannot afford to live in the United States. The United States is for people with money, baby. And I don't have it. I ain't got it. Okay. Um, but I want the best. I want the best for you all over there. I want the best for my country people. Therefore, I am all here for this attempt to get Jasmine Crockett out of Congress because she is an embarrassment. She perpetually stays in the news for carrying herself with no couth. Because she has no couth. I don't know how else to say it. She has garnered the nickname Ghetto Jasmine Crockett. And it's not because she is a black woman. She truly is ghetto. And she's ghetto and she's not even from the hood. She reminds me, I don't know if any of y'all saw that movie ATL. You know, it is a cult classic in the African American community in the United States. But there's Lauren London, you know, she's actress, Nipsey Hussle's ex-girlfriend. Well, not ex-girlfriend because he passed away. That's why they're not together. Rest in peace, Nip. But like in this movie, she was from a rich neighborhood, but she wanted to be in the ghetto because it was fun. So she like put on this fake accent and you know she was always wearing the latest hood fashions and she's a really cute girl. It's a really cute story in my opinion, and that is what Jasmine Crockett is giving. Only Nunu wasn't unintelligent, right? Because here's my thing, there's nothing wrong with being ghetto. I'm from the South. Y'all know we have a little Southern twang. We talk with a little bit more slang in the South, but you have to pick a struggle. You can't be ghetto and stupid. Like, if you're going to be ghetto, then everything that comes out of your mouth needs to be intelligent, right? For example, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is very country. She has her Southern accent, but when she speaks, she makes sense. Do y'all understand? So I know that her and Jasmine Crockett have had their beef. Jasmine Crockett has been ducking and dodging a debate every time Marjorie Taylor Greene asks her for one, but she should be taking notes from the good sis. I'm just saying. With that said, I am going to go to LV Nation's channel and I am going to give my reaction to a video that he did today on the situation that's going on with the gerrymandering in Texas. Again, for those of y'all who don't know, I am from the great state of Texas. And what I will say is this. Y'all know, if you've been following me, that I used to be a liberal. Okay. I am ashamed to say this. Guys, if y'all are just now coming in, hit the like button. Hi, What's up? Good to see you. Can y'all please hit the like button? That helps people know that I'm on live. I used to be a liberal. Okay. And I will let me say this. When I was a liberal and I look back on my quality of life, the way that I handled situations, the way that I carried myself as a woman, the things that I chose to give my energy to, I can say that I was a loser. And I wasn't a loser because I was a liberal. Being a loser drew me to liberalism. Do y'all understand? Because liberalism promotes victim mentality and like it indulges that blame everybody else and not take personal accountability for anything in life and not think about basic human nature, like having your like childish. That's one thing I'll say. I'm going to talk about this when I talk about another woman, Jolanda Jones, who will appear in LB Nation's video. But when you are a liberal and you feed into that extreme liberalism, it promotes childish behavior and not a growth mindset. And like over the years, I've slowly but surely evolved into a more self accountable person. And with that, I was drawn to conservatism, right? Now, I'm more of an independent leaning conservative because there are certain things that I still do agree with. And I don't take an extreme view on everything, but I'll say for the most part, I'm a more conservative person. And a lot of that had to do with what took place in my state during COVID. Can I say that on Instagram now? On YouTube? I'm sorry, y'all. Can I say that during the Rona? Okay. I remember when you had these liberals who were like calling for people to get forced inoculation and lose their jobs and basically become second class citizens. You had Greg Abbott, who was the voice of reason. And then the moves that he made when it came to the Biden Harris administration, basically forcing wide open borders on our state, he pulled some boss moves, honestly and truly. So now I have heavily shifted to conservatism. Now, going back to Jasmine Crockett, I think it's important that I gave y'all that backstory because I used to live in her district, right? But right before I made that move here to Colombia, I was living in her district, right? Let me see if I can pull up a map of her district. And like, all you need do is take one visit there and you will understand how somebody like Jasmine Crockett could get elected. Okay. She is from the 30th Congressional District in Texas. Let me pull up a map. Um, see if I can share this. Now, the demographics of this district is a little bit weird, right? Because it's the southwestern section of Dallas, right? Including the surrounding suburbs. And here we go. This is from congress.gov. Okay, give me 1 second. I love being able to like come at y'all with this from like a perspective of having lived through this versus just, observing. Okay, so I hope y'all can see this. Give me 1 second. Okay, let me see if I can make this map bigger. Okay, so this is the southwestern portion of Dallas, which includes Duncanville, Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Lancaster, Glen Heights, parts of Oak Cliff, some of Grand Prairie. Why is it important that I bring this up? Well, and parts of Pleasant Grove. These are predominantly Black and Hispanic neighborhoods. And part of it is like the hood where these people are struggling economically. You have a very huge population of illegal immigrants that live in these neighborhoods. But then when we're talking about Cedar Hill, Duncanville, DeSoto, and Lancaster, these are middle class to upper class black people. Okay, you even have black people who are millionaires, right? But it makes no difference whether or not they're on the poor end of the spectrum, if we're talking about somewhere like Oak Cliff, or if they have money in DeSoto and Duncanville and Cedar Hill. They're all voting the exact same way, right? And so if you are a black person who is more conservative leaning like me and you're trying to vote in a district like this, your vote doesn't count. And what's crazy is this, like, it's, you will see that the priorities of the people in these neighborhoods are so jacked up, because not only did I live in this district, I taught in this district, right? So I taught in the suburbs in this district. So what does that mean? Well, the majority of the students that I had were from African American households, and then I had quite a few from Hispanic households. Now, with the Hispanics that live in this district, they're predominantly Mexican, and then secondary would be like El Salvador, Central America. And they have a huge work ethic. They own a lot of businesses in these areas, right? The only thing that makes them more liberal leaning is the issue of illegal immigration. That's the only reason why they would go out and vote for a Jasmine Crockett, because they tend to have very traditional family views, right? And with the black people in this area, you have to understand, even in the suburbs, a lot of them are just like a generation out of poverty. So the only thing that would keep them voting for like a Jasmine Crockett is, I'm sorry, I hate to say this, and this is not, I'm talking about the people in this area that I know. This is not me characterizing all black people in the United States. No, I used to live in this area, so I know why people in these areas vote for Jasmine Crockett, because I was immersed in that community. You will have somebody that is living in a 250,000 dollar house that has 4 to 6 bedrooms, very nice. I know that might not sound like a lot to y'all, but in Texas, that's an expensive middle class house, a $300,000 house, and they will live in a house that big, be driving a Mercedes, and be on food stamps. So, so people like this vote for people like Jasmine Crockett solely for the purpose of entitlement programs. Hey Jamal, what's up? Release the Epstein files. Exactly. Yes, let's release them. Most black people would vote for Jasmine Crockett. She's perfect for them. Yeah, I mean, I don't like her, right? So they will also vote for Jasmine Crockett because she'll say things like, "Oh, let's she'll bash Donald Trump for defunding the Department of Education." And it's like, y'all don't even value education. I know. I was a teacher in the suburbs. I don't want to say exactly which city there, because like I don't want any problems for my former employer, but I taught at the high school there. Y'all don't care about education. Y'all were cussing teachers out, coming to school, fighting teachers. It would get to the point where I would tell my coworkers, I don't know why you call parents when these kids are failing and not showing up to class or skipping. They don't care. You're going to be the bad guy. They're always going to have the victim mindset and say that you're picking on their 16 and 17-year-old kid, right? There were a couple times that I almost came to physical blows with parents who thought that they were going to get in my face, call me out of my name. Like, it was bad. But yet you will see some of these same parents shout to the rooftops on social media about defunding the Department of Education. And it's like, when do you care? Your kids can't read. The majority of them can't read. And if they comprehend, that's amazing. I'm very impressed. And if I have any of my former students watching this, I love y'all. Y'all know I was a hardworking teacher. I would stay after school. I would tutor you. I spent my money on y'all. I would help y'all. But like, let's not pretend like I'm lying here. Let's not. I love y'all. Wish you much success in life, but y'all had very crappy parents, very crappy enabling parents. who would again be buying Balenciagas. They would pay for an $800 pair of shoes for you, but would not pay for you a tutor. This is the priorities of the people who live in Jasmine Crockett's district. So there's no hope. If that map stays just the way it is, there's no hope for that district. And y'all know what's crazy? The people that live in this district started moving further south, right? And the reason why a lot of them don't even want to live around each other. So you have these people who would get tired of each other and their hood rich ghetto ways and say, I'm going to move further south to Waxahachie or Red Oak. And for those of y'all who don't know that area, those are predominantly white areas. And of course, there's going to be racial and cultural conflict there because you have two different value systems. Then they would come bring their, don't want to live by around nobody else like them, but come and behave the same way they were behaving in DeSoto, Lancaster, and have their kids acting a fool in school, not valuing education. Then, of course, there would be racial conflict, and they would chalk it all up to these white people are just jealous because we're moving here with more money than them. It has absolutely nothing to do with the way your priorities and the way that you're behaving and the way that you're changing the cultural dynamics of the neighborhood. So this is what we're dealing with when we're dealing with people who are voting Jasmine Crockett into office. Two wings of the same bird. Republicans definitely have zero interest in your best care. I walk in the middle. F politics. I'm for love and humanity. I'll say this, and I talked about this a couple lives ago, and I've talked about the Epstein file. So don't think that I'm on here like never criticizing Republicans, and I'm not one of those ones who are turning a blind eye to some of the ways in which this administration has definitely dropped the ball and could potentially black pill people. But what I will say is unequivocally, if you're talking about in terms of material conditions, right? Like when we talk about the whole issue with illegal immigration going on in this country, I feel like Donald Trump was the much better option than Kamala Harris. So I'm not going to say elections don't matter at all, because in this situation, in many cases, it does matter. But yes, I am very disappointed with what's happening with the Epstein files. Absolutely. I'm there with you on that. And I just think that the deep state runs so deep that there are some issues that there are a lot of issues that voting will never resolve. You know, it's a big club and we're not in it. But at the same time, during another demic, if I'm going to be in any state, I want to be in a Republican state, period. With stuff like that, it does matter. Professional Black women who are high earners see themselves in Jasmine Crockett. I would agree with that. I'm not going to argue with that. Okay, let me take this map. Yeah, I don't see myself in her at all, honestly and truly. But I've never been, and don't get me started on Israel. Exactly. Very disappointed in that. But again, and I've said this before, I'll say this again, a Democrat in office wouldn't be handling the situation with Israel any differently. We wouldn't, I think people voting for Trump was like an attempt at trying to take our country back from them. I don't know if it would happen, honestly. Now let me go to LV Nation's channel. Y'all give me a minute. Do y'all like my look today? Before I get into that, do y'all like my look? I put some butterflies in my hair. I tried to get cute for y'all. Guys, I'm thinking about starting a Patreon for conservative, solution-oriented women who, I don't have a problem with feminism. I agree with equal rights for women, but like who want to focus on harnessing like our femininity and learning how to live in harmony with the opposite sex in the world as the way that it is. I would like to do like makeup tips on there, cooking tips, things like that. So y'all let me know if y'all are interested in seeing a Patreon like that for me. Give me 1 second. History. Here we go. Oh, thank you, Jamal.
Here's
Here we go. So again, this is on LV Nation's channel. Shout out to all my people who are still here rocking with me after he put y'all on me. I really appreciate that. Shout out to my day ones as well. So let me put my headphones on so we can get into this video.
how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list.
Yeah, no, Jasmine Crockett is losing her mind. She just realized it's all over. Like the Democrats are all fleeing Texas, and now most of them are about to either be arrested or their seats are about to be vacated, and trying to save Jasmine Crockett with this redistricting plan. And it is not looking good. And she is losing her mind, going on a major tantrum on the news. And here she is during a rally. You guys got to see what she says here. She is literally like just losing it. Take a listen.
Because the Supreme Court has paved the way for half the stuff that we see that's going on. Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that. Yes, yes, he is. He is. He is. But
Jasmine Crockett behaves this way because she has the mentality of, if I am as blunt and as scandalous and sensational as Donald Trump, I will garner the same amount of support and popularity. But what she doesn't understand is you can only be this way if you can make out coherent and logical thoughts. You can't be sensational and ghetto just for the sake of being sensational and ghetto. So it's not working for her in the way that it's working for Donald Trump.
in a functioning democracy, he still would not be able to get away with this. But he's been able to get away with this because the House Republicans are complicit. He's been able to get away with this because Senate Republicans are complicit. But most importantly, the courts, especially the Supreme Court, is complicit. And so I think one of the
shout out to the Supreme Court. Y'all are doing y'all's big one.
places that we have to start is we are absolutely, they are the highest court in the land, and they have no ethics guardrails. Now you go down to the lower courts and they do. How much sense does that make? When we know that they're taking money, we have the paper trail, and they refuse to put guardrails on themselves. So it's time for us to do it for them.
Yeah. So,
ma'am. Now, I don't know. This is my first time hearing that the Supreme Court is taking money. I'll have to look into that. But like, let's not play like that doesn't happen in the lower courts as well. Let's not play like Democrats don't take money from lobbyists. Like, let's not play this game of morals and ethics here, because you don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Who paid for y'all's private flight to Illinois? Because Jasmine Crockett, how in the world do you have like $50K for a private jet? You shouldn't be able to afford that as a member of Congress. So like, who paid for that? Which is why Greg Abbott has opened an investigation on y'all for bribery now. Y'all are going to F around and find out playing these games.
Jasmine Crockett, she called Trump a piece of ish. You heard it there. She's losing her mind again because of what's going on with the some people said gerrymandering. Some other people say gerrymandering. Let me know how you guys actually pronounce that. But I'm going to stick with gerrymandering for now. So she's mad about that. And then she goes on the news because she realizes that they all got played. They all got played. They all got outsmarted. This is something that they've been doing as well. They all ran to Illinois to basically stop the quorum, and basically stop this from happening before the midterms. They all fled, and now they're being ordered back. We're going to get into how they're being ordered back, but here she is now on the news letting everybody know that her poll numbers and her numbers have fallen to the point where it's pretty much over. She has to accept defeat in Texas 30. Take a listen.
there was a benefit to shining a light on what it was that they were trying to do in the dark in Texas. So unfortunately, we've seen our numbers fall now that they have these voter restrictions in place. But I do think it's important for us to have the conversation.
Your numbers are going to fall because people that don't have identification or are in the country illegally cannot go vote.
Yeah, so the numbers have fallen. She is falling out of the sky. And again, she's throwing temper tantrums, asking people, please stick with me. Remember, this was the Democrats' face for like 5 months after the election. She was the face of the Democrats. And now she's been completely it's over. Like, she's completely cooked here. And let's get right into the news of what's been going on with Governor Greg Abbott. He is now ordering that the Texas Rangers launch an investigation into the Democrats for felony bribery. This extends.
Of all the states that you could have done this in, you chose to do this with Greg Abbott. Remember Jasmine Crockett, Governor Hot Wheels? Yeah, them Hot Wheels are on your ass like white on rice. Texas is not the place where you want to play these type of games, because I don't know if y'all recognize this, but Greg Abbott has been standing on business since the Rona hit. He's been standing on business. Like him or this is not the person that you want to play with. This is not the person that you want to clown at the national level. He's very determined.
And to those who aided and abetted their escape away from Texas to stop this gerrymandering from happening. But again, this gerrymandering will not be.
Jamal, Black people go get everything else they want to get. Again, I'm saying, like, y'all can't. I lived around Black people all my life. When Black people want to make something happen, we are not handicapped. When Black people want to get to the club for free before 11, they get there. When Black people want to go on a Carnival cruise, they find out a way to go, even if they can't pay their rent. When Black people want to pay for come up with some money to get them a $300 bundles, they get it. And I love my people. But like, let's be for real. When Black people want to figure out a way to get the brand new Jordans, they get it. So you mean to tell me Black people can't figure out a way to get an ID? A state ID? Are we that incompetent? Are we slow? If you can't figure out how to get your ID, knowing, like, if you know there's an election in November and it's a priority and it's January and you have all this time before the election, if you can't come up with a state ID before then, you don't deserve to vote. I'm sorry, you don't. So yes, I will agree with you. It probably does disproportionately affect us, but it has absolutely nothing to do with our inability to get an ID and has everything to do with what is prioritized. Because a white person or a Hispanic person that wants to go vote, they're going to make sure they do whatever it is that they need to do to have their stuff in order so that they can go vote. Most of the people who were complaining about, oh, I didn't vote because I didn't have an ID, they weren't going to go vote anyway. Let's be for real. These Texas Dems ran to Illinois, and Illinois is considered a highly gerrymandered state. I don't get their logic. I think that I think they just, I don't know. I guess they went where they were going to be welcomed with open arms. I'm from Illinois. I don't care for J.D. Pritzker, but please give me Katie Hobbs in Arizona or Gretchen Whitmer. You love you some Gretchen Whitmer.
equal to what they've done in California and what they've done to the state that they even escaped to, which is Illinois, which is just crazy because that is like literally the capital of it, of basically redistricting. And that's what she's melting down about here. Reports indicate that many absentee Texas House Democrats have solicited or received funds to evade conducting legislative business and casting votes. Under the Texas Penal Code, any of those Democrats who solicit, accept, or agree to accept such funds to assist in the violation of legislative duties or for purposes of skipping a vote may have violated bribery laws.
Oh, look at
so
you.
Again, Governor Greg Abbott stepping up to the
Okay, so some genius got them all together and was like, hey, hey, y'all, we can stop this from happening. Let's go on vacation in Illinois. And they were like, yeah, let's do that. Oh my gosh, let me see. Let me call up a contact and see if, oh yeah, I have a friend. They can get us a private jet. Okay. And let's be up out of here. Let's resist. And like nobody thought to say, hey, can we even do that? Somebody probably asked. And then they listened to another dummy in the room be like, yeah, we can. And nobody looked into it. Congrats. You played yourself with the man that I don't even know why y'all thought it was a good idea to play with him anyway, whether it was legal or not legal.
plate. That's what's happening there in Texas. It is a wild time to be a Democrat in Texas, and they're all losing their minds to the point where even some Democrats on the left mainstream media news are calling them out on it, of their hypocrisy.
Now, I know some of y'all don't believe in this. Greg Abbott is a Scorpio. Don't get those people started. Don't ever get on those people's bad side, because they don't forget and they're going to get their vengeance. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Take a listen to this. Here we have Chuck Todd. Wow, Chuck Todd is calling out the Democrats in Texas for fleeing to one of the worst gerrymandering offenders, Illinois, to protest Texas' new map. Take a listen to this.
It seems as if the strategy is bring more attention to this, make everybody uncomfortable, right? The more painful you make the process in Texas, the more it's hard to replicate. Maybe they may be their own colleagues aren't as interested in this. Congressional Republicans that serve in Texas, whose districts are actually going to get impacted negatively, also secretly are kind of hoping this goes away too. And I think they think the more painful they can make this in doing it, maybe there's a way to shut this down. So I understand the strategy, and I think you get this. The part that I think is sort of bad, I think it's a bad look for a party that claims to be always trying to protect the democracy, is to hole up in a state that gerrymanders.
Facts.
The state of Illinois. I mean, one of the worst.
And let me be clear. I don't agree with gerrymandering, but it's to the point where everybody's cheating. They're all cheating. They're all doing it. They're all doing it. And like, as somebody who's from the state of Texas, and like when I go back home, I go to Texas. When I go back to the United States, like I just never want Texas to be controlled by liberals, right? So I don't know. In a perfect world, things would be fair and people would not cheat. But it is what it is, and our state laws allow for it. Let's see. Hold on. Let me get to the comment. Hey, Jabba, streamer. See, Lou knows. Yeah, I love Lou's channel. Greg Abbott seems like an a-hole. He's like a very nice guy. I didn't used to like him, but again, that was when I didn't understand politics as well as I thought that I did. But he's the best governor in the United States, hands down. Hands down. That's why people are leaving their democratically run, their Democrat-run states, and they're fleeing by the droves and coming to Texas. Period. He is the most effective governor in the union, and nobody can name a better governor. a more efficient, more effective, more get things done, more stand up on behalf of what the majority of Texans want. Like, there's not one governor in the union who is better at him in those areas, better than him in those areas. Do y'all understand? Like, there's nobody that even comes close. I would love to see Illinois have a more conservative, common sense governor. We haven't seen one in a very long time. Are you from Illinois too? Hey girl, what's up, Sheba? Hey girl, hey chat. I'm here listening and getting my news update. I know that's right. Thank you for pulling up, sis. That's my girl. If especially my ladies, if y'all want to hear common sense, take control of your life, be accountable advice and opinions for women, accountable advice and social commentary for women, go check out my girl Sheba Baby Talks. Guys, y'all please hit the like button. That helps people know I'm online.
Wow, he's calling them out. You're going to one of the states that Gary Manders. So again, it's not Jerry Manders, it's Gary Manders. Let me actually play that one.
Look, Texas, Florida, Illinois, and Maryland. Those are your 4 giant gerrymandered states.
Oh, gerrymandered. Okay, so it's not gerrymandered. Okay, so he's calling them out on this again. And then we got to watch this from Fox News. This is right here. Jesse Waters goes off on this.
The Messiah told Democrats to toughen up. And what did they do? They ran away.
If you're seeing this video, my Democratic colleagues and I have just left our beloved state to break quorum and stop Trump's redistricting power grab.
It is 2025.
Boom. That's not Trump's redistricting power grab. It's the Texas legislature. Donald Trump doesn't have anything to do with that. Now, yes, will this result in a midterm win for Donald Trump? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the laws in Texas, whether you agree with the gerrymandering or not, this is in our laws that this is legal. Texas is a Republican state. And Texas has voted for its state representatives to go in there and make this happen. So don't blame this on Donald Trump. This is what the majority of the constituency in Texas votes for. It is a red state.
We are breaking quorum.
It's time to keep making good trouble. Thank you all for your prayers. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to speak the truth of power, doing everything it takes to save and protect our democracy. We didn't start this fight. Donald Trump started it. So you see me? Look at here.
Hi. Democrats in Texas fled their state yesterday because they claim Trump's going to steal the midterms. They had a private jet pick them up in Austin. The charter is an E-170 with leather seating and runs about 15 grand an hour.
But Jamal, so do Democrats. Matter of fact, Democrats are so extreme with the gerrymandering. Like, we don't even want to talk about the fact that the strategy of the Democrats during the Biden-Harris administration was just to replace us, to flood the country with a whole new constituency that is completely dependent on that type of unvetted immigration, and trying to put them in swing states that have very loose and lax voter laws. In places like California, barely any voter laws. As a matter of fact, it's illegal to ask for an ID. It's illegal to ask for an ID. So their whole, they not only do they gerrymander, but their whole strategy was, let's just bring the illegals in and provide pathways for them to actually vote so that they can stay in the country. And then we can turn these swing states permanently blue to where we will forever have Democrat presidents. So like, they're far more diabolical in their approach. Nobody can convince me otherwise.
Who paid for it? We don't know. But we do know where it went. Illinois. Governor J.B. Beck Ribs Pritzker gave them a big old bear hug in Chicago and declared it a sanctuary city for flea baggers. J.B. Beck's giving them logistical support Not sure what that means, but sources say free hotel rooms and meals. The Texas refugees say they had to run because Republicans wouldn't listen.
We really didn't have a choice. We tried to negotiate with Republicans. We tried to talk to them. We tried to reason with them. We tried to tell them that the public is very angry at what they're doing. And
no, here's the thing. When you have a state legislature, all this, we tried to talk and we tried to reason. That's cool. But what matters is the vote. So no, ain't no sitting there's no running away from the vote because you couldn't convince the other side to vote the way that you want them to do. That's not how it works. Texans elected you to vote on legislature. So you must be there to cast your votes. All this, they wouldn't do what we wanted them to do, so we're not going to vote. That's not how it works. And that's what I'm saying. This is why people are sick of them. Childish. They are childish. Guys, I have to work in 3 minutes. I'm going to come back on. Let me see what time I can come. I'm going to come back on tonight. I will, after this class that I have to teach, I will set another live. I'm going to come back on. So if y'all want to set your notifications, you can. But I can't be late for this class. But I will come back on and I will finish this topic. And then we will talk about the immigration crisis that's going on in the UK. Please hit the like button, share if you care, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I will see y'all back here soon.